Of expectation about myself. I really think that part of that had pursued me all of my life. Now I can be as dumb and as stupid as I want. And people say, yeah, well, what do you expect? It's Frank Drebin.
Oh, Frank.
Whoa!
Everyone should have a friend like you.
My character is more like the Wile E. Coyote. No matter what happens, he ends up getting somewhat abused. I'm abused in the show, and I think in my first few years in Buffalo, I was abused. We didn't have the greatest team, and you just kind of took it and kept smiling, you know. Basically, that seems to be the attitude of Norberg. He just takes it and, hey, and keeps doing his job. Police! Throw down your guns! The whole film cracked me up. And here I am, these assimilating bullets hitting me. It went so bizarre, you know. And all of a sudden, my hand is on a hot stove, and even more bizarre, now I fall on my shoulder on some wet paint. My hand is scalded, but I'm worried about this wet paint. And, you know, the window goes down on the hand, and all of a sudden there's a wedding cake. I'm in the wedding cake, right? Because once my head went into the wedding cake, I couldn't see. I had to find that bear trap, right? And when I went out the door, I just went over the edge. You don't expect this to happen to OJ, you know?
Basically, what we do is set up familiar situations and reverse people's expectations of the outcome. And so in that way, it's like scenes we like to see in Mad Magazine.
There it is.
The original idea was it's just the autopilot inflates and then deflate, and then Julie having to blow it up was another idea thought by someone else, and then somebody else thought up the idea of how about then they smoke cigarettes. So that's how the collaboration works.
Every day somebody would bring up something new, and it would be fun. We explore it, and we always loved to find a situation where there was a lot of things that could happen, like a ballpark.
The big step is thinking of the idea, Drebin in a baseball field. Once you get Drebin on a baseball field, it's like a kid in a candy shop. Look out.
Everybody would just start jamming on ideas. It would just be something everybody wanted to see or wanted to do.
How about that?
Bert is the one who started with the puns and the gags, and and the boys just did that all the time.
Yeah, this was our dinner table fare all the time. Puns, who could outdo, and
Jim and Jerry and I started evolving one after another these, what we called our 15 rules of comedy, which we can never remember.
Don't do is anything that Jerry Lewis would do.
I always remember joke on a joke. That was the first rule. You can't do two jokes at the same time. You can't have something happening funny in the foreground and something happening in the background that's funny at the same time.
Something might be too silly that it would blow reality, so we wouldn't do it.
Particularly miles, of course.
That's impossible. They're on instruments.
You can't have a character talking to another character and then looking into the camera and saying anything.
Don't you feel anything for me at all anymore?
I can't live with the man I don't respect.
The 15th rule was that there are no rules.
What a pisser.
Jokes are really made up in the writing, and then once you get it onto the set, the actors say the lines, and sometimes it doesn't work.
If you get in there and start to read a line a certain way, he says, no, I want you to pause in between this line and that line, but make the lines faster. I want you to look over there on that word and look over there on that word. And so you say, okay. Now remember all those things.
This time, you know, David is really gone for heavy-duty precision. And so we have been doing takes 20, 30 times.
David is very precise, and he'll go through any lengths to get the take that he wants.
I think the record is, I think it was 26 takes. And, but one of the highest was oddly enough, was one of Priscilla's dance routines.
There's a lot of things involved with it. There were a lot of people, a lot of extras that day. The skirt's supposed to come off. I roll and I do a twirl. I land on a table. He hands me the olive. Everyone kept asking me if they knew how many olives I had. Did I actually eat these olives? I got so involved, I hadn't realized that I had eaten 21 olives. So much was going on. The landing had to be right. There were flowers that were in front of me. My head would sometimes go way above the flowers or way below. They'd be in my face. And we had to keep doing it over. And I guess we did, I don't know, I hate to even say how many takes. It's so, it just gets so involved. But
There's one peculiar thing that David does that is most peculiar. David and Bob Locash, and when he's here, Jerry Zucker, too. They sit behind these 3 little monitors, giving you an instant replay so that you don't have to wait for dailies.
That's good. That's as good as we're ever going to get. I mean, that's perfect.
That's the other thing. When it's funny, or partially funny, you hear them.
You get to distinguish whose laugh is whose, you know, by about the second day. David has this very high laugh, you know, very, very high-pitched, contagious laugh.
It can be very distracting because there's the camera and we're acting here, say, and over there somewhere, out of sight, not in an island, I think, is Video Village. And you very often know instinctively if you've got something right because you finish the scene and then everybody stands around in case we do it again. And then you hear all this completely hysterical laughter from around the corner.
That was good. Yeah. No, I think that was good. Let's play that back. That was funny.
My favorite scene might be the scene in Habsburg's dining room. Leslie comes in.
Nice party, Habsburg. See a lot of familiar facelifts.
And what happens is he's escorting Dr. Meinheimer, who was actually the imposter, in his wheelchair up towards the stage. Some coffee is spilled onto the switch, and the wheelchair runs amok, and it turns into this very funny melee as the wheelchair breaks up the whole party and then ultimately goes flying out the door.
And then we cut to my mother, who's sitting with some other ladies, including my sister. And she's saying something like,
For a man in a wheelchair, he gets around marvelously well. Something like that. I think I left out a few words, and by golly, I'm going to get every single word right.
and so in the background we see the wheelchair going past the moon like it did in E.T.
Her line is supposed to be, and for a man confined to a wheelchair, he seems to get around marvelously. But God knows what she's going to do with the real words.
I hope I don't forget my line.
Charlotte's line here is isn't it amazing how well he gets around in that thing?
I could get used to this, you know.
Watch your step. Why Charlotte Zucker? Well, we interviewed a lot of mothers, and we decided in the end that ours would be the best suited.
We'll do one rehearsal without the thing going.
For a man confined to a wheelchair, he seems to get around marvelously.
Roll camera, please.
And for a man confined to a wheelchair, he certainly seems to be having a lot of fun.
Have fun. He certainly seems to be having a lot of fun.
Charlie, camera only, Mark.
And for a man confined to a wheelchair, he certainly seems to get around confined to a wheelchair. He certainly seems to get around marvelously. Seems to get around marvelously.
This time, Mom, try not to pause.
Without pause, Charlie.
And for a man confined to a wheelchair, he certainly seems to get around marvelously.
Mark.
And for a man confined to a wheelchair, he certainly seems to get around marvelously.
Once again, please.
And for a man confined to a wheelchair, he certainly seems to get around marvelously.
That's a wrap.
Well, you did real good, Mom.
I'll never say that line again as long as I live.
Ladies and gentlemen, Charlotte Zucker.
They don't try to tell people what's funny. They put up on the screen what they think is funny, what is funny to them.
I don't recall seeing your name on the guest list.
Nothing to be embarrassed about. I sometimes go by my maiden name.
It's pure fun and silliness.
It's kind of not taking life all that seriously.
Oh, congratulations. I understand that Edna's pregnant again.
Yes, and if I catch the guy who did it...
You know, it's like great stuff. It's very vaudevillian.
I don't know exactly what to expect when I come to work every day.
Step on it.
We are the audience, and so if it makes us laugh, we just hope it'll make other people laugh. And if it doesn't, then we'll retire.
Well, that may be how David feels, but I need the money.